We have breaking news from San Mateo County after days of heated testimony back in August. A long-awaited update from a judge tonight why he says the county has just cause to remove the county sheriff, Christina Corpus, from her job. And Santa Rosa schools have already made a lot of cuts, but now teachers are worried about what is next as the district is threatened with a state takeover.
I worry that I don't know that we all have much more to give if we're asked to do it with less.
Plus, another smash and grab at a Bay Area mall involving teenage suspects, and it has shoppers and vendors on edge.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Hello, I'm Sarah Donchi in for Juliette tonight. We do start with that breaking news. An independent retired judge has found cause to remove embattled San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus from her post. Judge James Emerson has released his advisory opinion to the county after overseeing a hearing that lasted 2 weeks back in August. Sheriff Corpus appeared defiant outside the courtroom in Redwood City, denying all allegations that she abused her power and retaliated against critics. But in his opinion, Judge Emerson concluded that Corpus used her position to benefit her former chief of staff, Victor Ij, saying that despite both of their denials, the evidence shows they were in an extramarital relationship before, during, and after her time as sheriff. He also, before and during her time as sheriff, I should say, he also concluded that Corpus directed the arrest of the Deputy Sheriff's Union president, Carlos Tapia, without probable cause, and retaliated against a captain who refused to take part in a personnel action that he believed violated state law. And here is another key finding in all of this. The judge ruled that Sheriff Corpus elevated her own interests in the close personal relationship she had with Mr. Ij above her obligation to appoint, recruit, or select and or retain based upon merit. So now this report goes to the County Board of Supervisors, who will call a meeting and then we'll make a decision about whether to remove the sheriff. The county is not commenting on this tonight, but we do have calls out to Sheriff Corpus's attorneys, and we'll have more on the story as we get it for you. All right, now we turn to Sonoma County, where Santa Rosa City school leaders are considering more drastic cuts to avoid something that has never happened in the district's history, a state takeover. The district already cut back on staff and closed or merged schools, but it hasn't been enough. District officials warn they need to make $10 to $15 million more in cuts before February. Kenny Choi introduces us to one teacher who worries what that could look like.
In society, we've accepted.
Keeping a room full of 8th graders engaged in an English class is no easy task.
Right? We're trying to get our wheels turning.
Allison Budlong is giving it her all.
We can only do so much as human beings. We can only stretch ourselves so thin for so long.
Students at Santa Rosa Middle School and High School are on the same campus after 6 schools shuttered this year, helping the district, according to school officials, shave $25 million off the budget. But the fiscal nightmare continues. Budlong says class sizes could soon become an issue.
We're seeing huge numbers in students. We have a lot of students on campus. And that's another layer of kind of not as much staff, is that most of the classes are pretty packed to their limit.
More than 150 positions were cut last spring. Layoffs are looming once again. Amy Carter is Sonoma County Superintendent of Schools.
It's unfortunate, but this means really aggressive layoffs in that system. There's just no way around it.
Carter recently informed school leaders the district is at risk of running out of cash by the start of the next fiscal year. The County Office of Education also highlighted growing deficits triggered by compensation increases are serious concerns.
As soon as possible, we're hoping that Santa Rosa City Schools is going to push forward a list of how and where they intend to cut.
Open your book.
If the district enters state receivership, Santa Rosa City Schools would become the first Sonoma County school district to lose local control. One board member says program cuts, including academic, wellness, and support, could all be on the block as layoffs loom.
If we had to give more, I worry that I don't know that we all have much more to give if we're asked to do it with less.
Have you ever had to step?
Teachers like Allison Budlong are fighting to keep her students focused as school officials face difficult decisions on the horizon.
There are reports that the district could consolidate at least 2 more schools sooner than it had originally planned. The full board is set to meet this Wednesday. All right, now to this really warm weather. Many people were out and about in shorts and short sleeves in San Francisco today, which is always something. They were soaking up this October heat. It was in the 80s in the city today. And it was a beautiful day to stop and smell the flowers at San Jose's Rose Garden. We caught several people out taking pictures, trying to stay in the shade. Let's go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan with more on today's warm-up.
Yeah, it was warm today. Not excessively hot, though. Even the hottest spots stayed just below 90 degrees. I think we'll add a couple of 90-degree temperatures to the map for tomorrow. But let's take a look at where we ended up this afternoon. High temperatures mostly in the 80s. Half Moon Bay was the exception at 72 degrees, but that's above normal for this time of year. Made it up at 87 degrees in San Jose. Same temperature in Livermore. Fairfield, one of the hotter spots, getting up into the upper 80s, and one of the hottest spots overall, just barely below 90 degrees in Santa Rosa this afternoon, 89. You'll have very similar temperatures tomorrow, with those spots east of the Oakland Hills are going to climb another 4 or 5 degrees, which does put you up into the low 90s. Let's take a look at how far above average that is. About 5 to 10 degrees above normal across the Bay Area. A mix of 70s and 80s around the Bay tomorrow, with that mix of upper 80s and low 90s farther inland. But even the hottest spots far inland, not likely to be dangerously hot. The excessive heat risk in Antioch, one of the hotter spots today, only made it up into the slight category. It'll be in the elevated category tomorrow, but that's as high as it's going to go. And then the bar for Wednesday is right at the bottom of the chart here, because we're going to see a huge change in temperatures, a 10 to 15 degree drop from tomorrow to Wednesday. And we're going to see a chance of showers later this week as well. Details on all of that coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. We appreciate it. A traffic alert in San Francisco to tell you about 3 pedestrians were hurt after a crash in Pacific Heights. We talked to the San Francisco Fire Department, and they told us that one of the victims is a baby. This happened at the intersection of Divisadero and Pacific just before 6 o'clock this evening. Our helicopter was there earlier. And at the time, you see a car that had dents on the hood and on the windshield. San Francisco Fire told us that one person was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The driver did stay on the scene and is apparently cooperating. And in the North Bay, all southbound lanes of Highway 101 are back open again in San Rafael after a 3-car crash. This happened just before the Terra Linda exit. Our helicopter showed a tow truck picking up one of the cars. This created a huge backup in both directions. Southbound traffic is still moving pretty slow. No word on any injuries for that crash. Business owners and customers are on edge in Concord after the latest smash and grab at the Sun Valley Shopping Center this weekend. Police say the burglary crew was made up of teenagers. They were all arrested early yesterday morning. Brad Hamilton spoke with a shopper and a vendor who are well aware of the problems at the mall.
Sun Valley Mall has been a Concord staple for decades, but Aaron Atley says it's a shadow of what it used to be.
The parking lot is fully empty. You cannot even you can park wherever you want.
He admits that he comes here not for store selection, but to escape busier spots elsewhere in the East Bay. And he also says he knows he's taking a risk.
I just parked my car over there. In one creek, I don't even lock my car. But when it's here, I check my door 2 times if it's locked or not, because people are stealing, breaking the windows. Even we lock the cars, they are breaking the window and taking if there's a backpack.
One longtime mall vendor says smash and grabs are a persistent problem at the mall. He didn't want to show his face for fear of retaliation, but he says that his and other storefronts are at a breaking point.
Every store in this jewelry store has probably been hit at least once or twice. Every single one.
The latest smash and grab happened just before 4 a.m. Sunday morning. Concord police were called for a burglary in progress. They arrived to find the glass door entrance to the mall shattered, and moments later, 7 suspects trying to get away. 4 were arrested after a brief chase. The other 3 caught at the mall before they could escape. Monday morning, the mall reopened, but a boarded-up door told the story.
People are should we go, should we not go, should we go, should we not go? It's not safe. And when it's not safe, there's no one here.
For this vendor, it was another frightening reminder of the dangers of his job. He's already been targeted once this year.
They were all masked up. They come in, sprayed us with pepper spray and smashed the cases and left. And I still think about it every day. I see hoodlums with a mask on. I close my doors and go home early sometimes.
And he's hoping this latest incident will serve as a wake-up call to protect the people who make their living here and the people who shop here.
I'm not alone when I say that something does need to be done, and I don't know what the solution is. I just work here.
Concord police say all 7 suspects were from Richmond or San Pablo. 6 of them were minors. The oldest was 18. And while they didn't get away with anything, they are now facing a long list of charges. We did reach out to the owners of the Sun Valley Shopping Center for comment and for more information on the mall's security plans. We have not heard back. Early voting started today in the November 4th special election. We spotted a ballot drop-off box outside San Francisco City Hall and one outside of SAP Center in San Jose, accompanied by the Sharks mascot, Sharky. Santa Clara County has over 100 ballot drop-off boxes. SAP Center will have 2. County officials say they were not expecting an election this year, and they've been working tirelessly since they found out about the change in plans. They emphasize that the county's election process is fair, safe, and secure, and encouraged everyone to participate.
It is absolutely pivotal that everyone in our community exercise their right to vote and participate in our electoral process. And we know from examples right here in Santa Clara County, including most recently our recent congressional election, just how close these elections can sometimes be, where we had a runoff decided right on the margin by just literally a handful of votes.
Santa Clara County will be voting on Measure A, a sales tax measure meant to help fund county hospitals and healthcare programs facing federal cuts. But the big ticket item is California's Prop 50, which would redraw state district lines to potentially give California 5 more Democratic seats in the House of Representatives, an issue which brought early voters out in San Francisco.
This is really important. This may be the most important election I ever vote in. So I just want to make sure it's done. I'm here. It's finished.
San Francisco has 37 ballot drop-off locations. You can also vote by mail, in person, at City Hall, or at your designated polling site on Election Day, November 4th. Up next, we are learning about some new problems related to the government shutdown. No air traffic controllers at a California airport, which means we could see delays elsewhere. And Fleet Week is now underway, why there will be an air show even if the Blue Angels don't fly. We have a developing story for you out of Southern California that could have ripple effects here in the Bay Area. The Burbank Airport, which is just outside of Los Angeles, is operating without air traffic controllers, and that could obviously cause some delays. Burbank is a popular route between Bay Area airports and Southern California, including a handful of flights a day that go out of Oakland to Burbank directly on Southwest. Now, this comes on day 6 of the government shutdown. According to an FAA bulletin, the airport is expected to be without air traffic controllers until 10 p.m. Not a usual move for such a big airport, so obviously problems happening there. We have reached out to the FAA. They say there have been increased staffing shortages across the system since FAA workers are essential government employees. They have been reporting to work but not getting paid until a deal is reached to reopen the government. So if you have a flight to Burbank, please do check that before you head out to the airport. Meantime, the Senate reconvened today to vote once again on Republican and Democratic measures to reopen the government, but both proposals failed. The White House has blamed Democrats and warns of mass firings of federal workers if the government shutdown continues. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed during the shutdown. And there's a pretty good chance we will not be hearing the roar of the Blue Angels this year. The government shutdown has put them on hold along with other U.S. military jets. So instead, the Royal Canadian Air Force's Snowbirds will headline. Fleet Week is a huge moneymaker. Waterfront businesses say they are feeling a little bit uncertain about that this year.
Yeah, a little disappointing. We're hoping to see a really big turnout and hoping it still happens, but with scale back, it might not.
We're not changing any operations, scheduling, purchasing because the Blue Angels aren't flying. We're going full steam ahead.
Organizers say Fleet Week usually draws tens of thousands of visitors to the San Francisco waterfront. So again, there will still be a show. Right now, we just don't know what that show will look like. We certainly don't know what the crowds will look like given these changes.
Yeah.
But we will see.
And we'll have a chance of showers by Friday as well. So the weather might be a bit of a complicating factor, too.
It usually is a complicating factor in some capacity this
usually
time of
fog
year.
Instead of rain.
Yes,
but
not rain, but there's always some kind of hiccup, right?
Yeah, we'll keep you updated as we head through the rest of this week. It's not going to be heavy rain, so no atmospheric rivers or anything like that. And in the short term, what we have is another warm day in store for us tomorrow. This is the temperature pattern across the entire state, and it was a warm day for most of the state. You do start to see a little bit of blue, though, in the higher elevations of the Sierra. Clara, getting a more colorful map now that we're transitioning from summer into full autumn mode. And here's the change that we're going to see. From today's pattern to Wednesday's pattern, you see the heat really shrinking in the Central Valley. We're going to be back to below normal temperatures around the Bay Area by midweek. A big change from tomorrow to Wednesday. And the reason for it is how the wind is going to behave. So the winds have been offshore, about a mile above ground level. That offshore breeze helping to push the fog away from the coast and helping temperatures to warm up to about 10 degrees above average today. But the winds are going to pivot, and it's going to be more of an onshore wind direction that kicks in as we head into Wednesday. And that's going to push that marine air farther and farther inland. And temperatures are going to take a big nosedive from tomorrow to midweek. Let's take a look where we stand right now, though. And we're looking at temperatures that are right now still in the 60s and 70s. Excuse me, it's 70s and 80s at this point. We're going to see those temperatures dropping off to the 50s and 60s later on tonight. Holding on to 80 degrees right now in Concord. Everybody else has dropped down to the 70s, just barely above 70 degrees in San Francisco. Through the rest of the night, those temperatures will drop off under clear skies, but we're going to warm up quickly once the sun comes up tomorrow. Temperatures reaching up to about 5 to 10 degrees above normal once again tomorrow afternoon. So that means into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees in the Santa Clara Valley, 87 in San Jose, with temperatures east of the Oakland Hills up into the upper 80s and low 90s. Fairfield, Antioch, Brentwood getting up to around 91, 92 degrees, similar temperature for Concord. Mostly 80s around the Bay with 70s closer to the coast, and then mostly mid to upper 80s for the North Bay, 89 degrees again in Santa Rosa, with some of the hotter spots farther inland getting up to the low 90s, 91 degrees. Again, one of the hotter temperatures across the entire region in Healdsburg by tomorrow afternoon. The temperatures are going to back down, though, as the winds pick up. Here are the specific wind speeds that we go from tomorrow to Wednesday, looking at those wind gusts every 6 hours. And nothing to notice really tomorrow. The strongest gusts barely cracking 20 miles an hour, even in the city. That's a different story by Wednesday. 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts are going to be widespread across the Bay Area. Some of the strongest gusts even over 30 miles an hour. Not nearly strong enough for a wind advisory, but it will be noticeable. And there's the dive in temperatures that occurs. Livermore goes from almost 90 tomorrow to upper 70s on Wednesday, and then settling into the low to mid 70s through the rest of the 10-day outlook. And the cooler weather will be accompanied by a couple of shower chances. There's one of the forecast models that's trying to bring a chance of showers in Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. That one unlikely to develop, but it's not a 0% chance. A better chance of showers is going to head our way Friday into Friday night, especially for the North Bay. So that's something we'll be watching a little bit farther down the line as we go through the rest of this week. We'll let you know if those chances go up or down. Usually this time of year, they tend to go down. Temperatures inland, there's that drop from the 90s tomorrow to the 70s across the board through the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Saturday and Sunday look really nice, though. Temperatures will be a little below average, but hey, we'll take it with plenty of sunshine overhead. Looks like just perfect weather for the second weekend of October. Temperatures Bayside dropping off as well from the 80s tomorrow to a mix of upper 60s and low 70s through the rest of the week. Temperatures at the coast don't drop as much, but you don't have as far to go. Back down to the middle portion of the 60s beginning on Wednesday, and that'll be the case through the rest of the 7-day forecast.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. Coming up, the 49ers are tied for the best record in the NFC thanks to the heroics of one of their rookies. Details in the Red and Gold Report. Gorgeous sunset tonight over the Golden Gate Bridge. All right, the 49ers were back to work today after having the weekend off. Matt Lively has more from Santa Clara in tonight's Red and Gold Report.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers are 4-1, and 3 of their wins have come down to a defensive stand and a signature play. But Thursday's win had 2. And rookie Alfred Collins was in on both of them. He punched the ball out of Kyron Williams' hands at the goal line in regulation and was in on the 4th down stop in OT. The first-year player may need to up his iPhone's text messaging plan if he makes more stops like that.
What was the aftermath of that like in terms of your phone blowing up? And
felt like it was my birthday.
Texas?
Yeah, it felt like it was my birthday. I thought I scored, but I was like, oh, the ball's right here. So, but no, it was awesome to be able to, make that play for my team.
Luckily, I don't have to go against Alfred because that's a big man. But that was huge play of the game. When backs were against the wall, he stepped up and made a play. And you love to see that because there's a lot of rookies that we've been counting on. And week after week, you've seen them step up and make plays. And I think that bodes well for the future.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
It is the ultimate Halloween experience in the Upside Down, how you can spend a night at the Stranger Things house. Up next. The final season of Stranger Things comes out next month. That show has been incredibly popular. And the home where it all started is now available to rent. You can rent it out on Airbnb. It not only looks like the Buyer home, which it certainly does with all of the eerie details, as you can see in these photos, it is also the location where the popular Netflix series was filmed. It is located in the quiet town of Fayetteville, Georgia. Since we last checked, the next availability is the day after Christmas. But here's the thing, a single night isn't cheap. It's about $1,400. Thanks for watching. The news continues at 8 on PIX Plus, 44 Cable 12. We'll see you right back here at 11.